Angela and Pinky, what are y'all okay? I mean, what was that at the end of this episode? Let's go.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right. Welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. Sorry for the shaking. All right. I'm Asia Esterak, and this is my review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 5. This episode was probably for me the first filler episode. I feel like not a whole lot happened till the end. But anyway, so we open with Cynthia, Phaedra, and Adrienne Maloof. For those who don't know, Adrienne Maloof used to be on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her and her ex-husband Paul Nassif. Fun fact: so I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. Worked in Hollywood as a scriptwriter for a while, and actually worked at a talent agency the first year and a half, 2 years out of film school. The agency was owned by Paul Nassif, Adrienne Maloof's ex-husband's brother, Chris Nassif, who I used to babysit for. Isn't that crazy? Never met Adrienne, but I did meet all her brothers. Anyway, what a small world. They were actually on an episode and I was tripping out. I was like, oh my God, I used to babysit her nephews. Anyway, so basically we open with them. So Cynthia is going to be the spokesperson for one of the tequilas that the Maloof family owns. The Maloof family, looked them up. They own a bunch of shit and a lot of stuff in Vegas. They own sports teams. They own a lot of stuff. Adrienne looked good, by the way. I don't know what she did to her face, but Adrienne, girl, you look good. I was like, okay, Miss Adrienne. I know she's been dating these younger men, so go ahead, girl, go ahead. Because your husband got a young woman, or ex-husband got a young girl, and she's cute too. So I always like them. They're always cool. Anyway, so they're kind of joking about who they're going to be inviting, and it's a trip to Dallas, Texas. Basically, it's a brand. Cynthia, from what I'm gathering, is the brand ambassador, and there's going to be like this launch party for this tequila. So she's invited all the ladies and their significant others. So anyway, they all meet up to get on this private jet to fly to Dallas. And on the plane, there were lots of different conversations. Pinky talks about the whole filing for bankruptcy thing, and just it was interesting to hear her talk about how she's not technically paid personally, and it was a lot. Angela chimes in and talks about 2024 being a bad year for her, the stuff with all of her houses, the bankruptcy. It was interesting watching Shamia listen to this because Shamia is about to embark on her own thing, and she seemed a little nervous and shook. I probably would be too if I'm hearing bankruptcy and these people are supposed to be successful. That's a part of being an entrepreneur. You're gonna go through shit, but again, I like that they're discussing all the like icky business stuff that a lot of people don't like to talk about. Again, I'm appreciative of it. So anyway, they asked Kay if she got a prenup with her and her husband. Kay, I didn't like the way you spoke about your husband. So basically she says no. And then she was talking about how her husband doesn't have social media. But Kay Michelle said that she believes that all men cheat. Kay, I don't know if that's, you know what? That's what you believe. I disagree. Because if you say all men cheat, all women cheat. I just feel like they're humans. Men think a little bit more with the other head, but a lot of women do too. They just don't get talked about it enough. But anyway, I don't know. I didn't like the way she spoke about her husband in this scene because she implied, well, he doesn't have social media, so he's not talking to anybody, or maybe he is. But for her to imply that all men cheat, so you're basically saying your husband's going to cheat on you eventually. I don't know. I love you, Kay, but your insecurities, babe. I don't know. I don't like that. The way she spoke about, oh, he's just a dentist. He's just doing dentist stuff. It almost seemed dismissive of, I don't know. I didn't like that. Anyway, that maybe that clearly was just me, but I didn't care for that. So they land in Dallas, Texas, and then they take a sprinter van out to where they're going to be staying. Beautiful place. I forget the name of the place, but they actually stopped at a gas station on the way there. That was a little funny. That's the second time we've had gas stations in the past few years on Housewives where they're actually filming at one. Interesting. So we get to this big, beautiful house. Gorgeous. The main house, I believe, had 6 bedrooms, had everything going on. Beautiful house. Um, then there's a separate house, like a pool house, that's a little further away on the property. Beautiful, and it has its own pool. So as they're all getting tours of the house, they get to the pool house, which no one seemed to really care for or like. I get it. The main house is gorgeous. I mean, it's 9,600 square feet. It's a beautiful house. Every room is nice. But this is one of the only times to me on this show where the complaining about the rooms was actually warranted. I get it. Me personally, I probably still wouldn't have complained, but deep down, I'm Charlie Bucket. I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to be invited. I'm glad you want me here. I'm Charlie Bucket from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I realize I'm old and I have a lot of references that not everybody is gonna know. Anyway, so they weren't even calling the pool house the pool house. They were calling it the tiny. Okay, I had to go back and look. So correction. So the tiny house is actually another separate house. That's the house that Pinky ends up getting that Cynthia gives to her. The pool house is the house that Kelly and Shamia end up getting because she says when she's giving them the tour, this house is for the two ladies who are like besties and inseparable. It turns out to be Kelly and Shamia later. And they didn't like the house because the house was kind of dirty. The house was dirty. The bed was dirty. I'm not getting to bed if it's dirty. And I used to clean vacation rentals and stuff for a living. So yeah, no. Um, I can I be honest, this whole section of the show was very boring and it just felt very dragged out. This episode seemed like a filler to the next episode where it seems like things are gonna really get popping. So anyway, we pretty much don't leave the main house for the rest of the episode. Um, Kelly and Shamia don't like their rooms, that they don't like that they're basically in the pool house, which they felt freaking frack should have been there. Kelly's talking shit about well, I don't know if she's talking shit, but she's making unfavorable references to Portia and Phaedra. Um, we know Kelly and Phaedra still aren't talking, but it is what it is. My thing is, Kelly, you can't even get mad at Portia coming at you because you started the shit and she's now continuing it. And anybody that knows that's been watching these shows, Portia a little petty. And so are you, girl. It's like petty versus petty. Um, so God, this episode was really boring to me. So basically, they all go to have like a dinner, and everybody comes except for Kay, Kelly, and Shamia. And Kay doesn't want to come because her glam squad isn't there and she's not feeling it. Kay Michelle, I gotta address you again, girl, because I am a fan, baby. I am a fan. But I feel like it's weird. It's like you were gung ho these first 2 episodes, and now you're just like, I don't know. Her energy is weird. And I think she even said it's because she doesn't know this group, and this is her first time on a girls' trip. I don't know. It just seems weird. There's definitely a lot of shade in the room. But anyway, so she's being weird about going to dinner. She actually goes over to the pool house and is talking to Kelly and Shamia. It was funny because at one point Shamia calls her husband um, and is telling him about the room. He actually was laughing. It was nice to hear that because he's just so robotic to me. So I don't know. Um, but one thing we do find out in this episode is that Kelly's soon to be ex-husband. So Kelly's husband, we found out in a few episodes previous, he did the interview. He did an interview with Tasha. Did he do the interview with Tasha K? He was talking about doing it. Let me fix my hair. Then she said he did like a protest or something, holding up pictures of their kids, something like that. I'm badly paraphrasing. And then we also find out that he didn't sign off for his kids to be on camera. So she can't film with her kids. She's dealing with a lot. I'll say this about Kelly. she seems to handle it very well. And it seems like we know that she was dealing with a lot last year with her estranged husband, and she didn't speak on it as much as she could have. And then this year, it just seems like he's punishing her for being on the show and even addressing him. But dude, it is what it is. I don't know. Kelly's energy was definitely off this episode. But so when her and Shamir are over at the pool house, Angela comes over later. So K Michelle comes over in the evening. Angela comes over before the whole dinner starts. I'm actually going backwards, and that's when Kelly was kind of talking shit about the whole freaking frack thing. Um, and of course, Angela runs it back to everybody, which was kind of funny. But y'all know Angela gonna run it back. She's the bone collector, and a great bone collector, I might add. Fantastic. So they all eventually go to dinner. Everyone's at the dinner except for Kay, Shamia, and Kelly. That's when Angela tells them about what Kelly said. Pinky also mentions that they weren't happy with their rooms. Drew comes out later. I skipped over this, but they asked Drew about her date with Black. That was actually a cute scene. And it's funny because Drew points out that Black mentions Kay Michelle, and Kay's like, I don't know him. Kay, you do know him though. You do know him because remember he slid in your DMs. You do know. So stop it. So we talk about that. Then we go back to Kelly and Shamia and the whole with the house with the room being dirty. So Cynthia apologizes to them and she says that when she did the initial walkthrough, it didn't seem dirty to her. I guess she wasn't paying attention. So whatever. So eventually it gets rectified. But they don't want to come to dinner because they don't want to get dressed and clean in a dirty house. Okay, fine. So the energy at this dinner table with Pinky's energy this last 20 minutes of the episode was weird. So she brought her shitty energy to Cynthia, kind of being accusatory about the room being dirty. And it was interesting because Cynthia, because she's a class act, she goes, when I spoke to them earlier, they didn't have the energy that you have. I'm so glad that she said that to her. Pinky, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like maybe something, I don't know, Pinky, I didn't get it. But at one point, she's asking Cynthia, like, were you doing this to play favorites? And Cynthia's like, no, I just assumed, I just thought because they're good friends that they would want a room together in the pool house. That whole thing was weird and it got drug out. And the energy that Pinky was giving her seemed strange to me. They weren't even there. You had a nice, it just seemed weird. Her energy seemed off. She just seemed like she was ready to argue. Cause she starts arguing with Angela. I'm skipping over shit. Her and Angela get into it. And they got into it to the point where they were name calling each other. I fell the fuck out though when Angela was like, don't do that, Mr. Clean. Okay, Papa Smurf. Angela ate your ass up. She ate you up, Pinky. And here's what's really crazy is when Pinky was doing all of this and shit, my husband's rich and da da da. What the hell does that even mean? You weren't even trying to tell your husband about the financial bullshit you were going through last episode and the week before. But then you're going to sit here and brag and talk shit to Angela. And it's crazy how she kept going low. Angela, to me, Angela gives light fun shade. I don't get malicious energy from her. I do not get malicious energy from Angela. I just don't. Pinky, I don't know what she was doing, girl. Now, I get it. They were going back and forth. When you're arguing with somebody, I guess everything's up. But that little whatever that was, I felt came out of nowhere. Pinky, your energy was weird at the end of this episode. This episode was boring for me. I felt like we didn't cover a whole lot. Next week will be way more interesting. I just didn't understand the energy that Pinky was giving Cynthia or Angela. And I think Kelly and Shamia were well within their rights to feel the way they did about the room. I would be upset if it was dirty too. Anyway, this was a quick review. Slightly boring episode. I hope next week was better. It was cool to see Adrian Malouf. And it's funny because it just seems like all the off-screen antics of this season of The Housewives is just as interesting as the show, minus this episode. Anyway, happy Monday, you guys. Have a great week. It's May. May the 4th be with you. Be nice to each other. Stay hydrated. Stay warm. And I'm going to go return these videotapes.